the PowerPoint itself, okay, and then go through the things that are different for us this year. So, welcome to the Year 9 Parents Information Evening. If I may, could I ask that questions are either kept to after the presentation or that they're actually placed into the show conversation. As you will see on the slide, if you click on the icon, it says show conversation. You can actually write in your questions, and my colleague, Mr. Hayter, who's actually sitting with me, will be able to monitor the questions. And if need be, we will answer the questions at the end. Okay, so thank you very much. What I would like to say, we've had a real positive start to the term. So thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your feedback. We're going to talk about the role of the Year 19 this year and also what is happening this year. So I won't spend too much time on this, but but reiterate what Mr. Bond said about it. It's all about our students. It's about our students being respectful, responsible, powerful learners. And our job is to make sure that we can provide them with those skills, but also provide them with the knowledge to become powerful learners. But again, and as you know, you've known us now for over 2 years, we want to work with you to get the best out of our students. Okay, just to reintroduce the Year 19, not much has changed in the senior side of things. I'm still here, I'm afraid. You can't get rid of me that easily. We have the wonderful Mrs. Patakis and the absolutely charming and handsome Mr. Hayter. Mr. Hayter's duties have changed slightly this year, though. He is now also our behaviour lead as well. He is still the deputy head of year, and he will be involved in the year team a great deal, but he also has responsibilities for behaviour across the school, which is an advantage to us as well. So we'd like to congratulate him on that. As with most schools, okay, as with some schools, unfortunately, we have lost or changed some of our tutors. I'd like to introduce to you Mrs. Newman, Mr. Lyons, Mrs. Beltran-Vilgran, and Mr. Edwards, who have taken over 4 of our tutor groups, 9DB, 9DL, 9TH, and 9FE. Mr. Woodward remains, and Mr. Long. With our other tutor groups, we welcome Mrs. Potter to 9SP. We do have an extremely strong tutor team, and they should be your first port of call if there are any issues. Right, the pastoral team's responsibilities. When I talk about the pastoral team, I'm talking about the tutors as the first port of call, myself as senior pastoral lead, the deputy pastoral lead, Mr. Hayter, and our pastoral manager, Mrs. Patakis. We are responsible for your child's attendance, their progress, their behaviour, their uniform, rewards, and mentoring. Okay, this is especially important this year when they start their GCSEs. Okay. The key thing, though, especially when we're starting GCSEs, is about the progress. We will monitor your child's progress throughout the year, particularly at the end of each reporting session, which is every term. If you have any queries regarding progress, though, please call or contact your tutor, okay, or the class teacher for that particular subject. If your child is not making progress in more than one subject, appropriate intervention would be put in to bridge the gap. Last year, we contacted certain parents and carers to talk to them about their child's progress, which we felt we could assist with. There will also be commendations throughout the year for students with the most improvement, the best improvement, the most progress. We will also monitor homework and equipment. On a Monday of each week, our tutors will be monitoring students' diaries and planners, their equipment and their uniform, okay, especially after the long lockdown that we've had. I must admit, though, I've been extremely impressed with our young people in the last few weeks since coming back into school. The uniform has been, I would say, majority impeccable. Their behaviour has been great, and they have adapted to the new workings of the school wonderfully well, more than some of the staff actually, so I would like to say that. Excuse me. We'll also be having the assemblies, the things that I enjoy most, where we can inspire and celebrate everyone. So the other thing is as well, with this new technology involved, we are aiming to have more meetings of a virtual type. Okay, so year pastoral team support, who to turn to? First instance, to tutor, email or phone. Okay, can I just remind everyone that our tutors are teachers as well. They cannot contact you. The ideal situation is a contact between 24 and 48 hours of receiving your message. Please give them some time to respond. Our partial team email is this year, year 9 at Oxford's. No, it's not. It's at year 9 at oxford.thpt.org.uk. Mr. Edwards, you've made a mistake. Mr. Hayter, you can chastise me later. Okay. Our SLT link remains the wonderful Miss Nichols, who's now deputy head teacher as well, for which we are forever grateful. And our head of inclusion and Sengo is again the wonderful Mrs. Waller. However, anything that you are concerned about, first and foremost, please contact your tutor. They will then be able to tell you who they need to talk to if they need to filter it down to us or to a member of staff for other reasons. Okay. What we would also,
Edwards, I think there are some people waiting to be let in. Could you just let them in the waiting room, please?
Sorry, my apologies.
Thank you.
Very good. You wouldn't believe I was an IT teacher, would you? That's it. Oh, it's coming up now. My apologies, they are coming up now. Sorry. I think I need to learn some new IT skills. Right, let's go back to the PowerPoint. The key thing, though, and the great thing about our team is that, thank you, Mr. Hayter. The great thing about our team is that we want to be proactive. Okay, if we know about an issue with a particular child, then we can actually do something about it and work with you and your children to make sure that their life at school is that much better. Whoa, sorry. I do love PowerPoints. Okay, some of the highlights though briefly from last year. I know it wasn't a full year, but at year 8 had good attendance in the school. However, it could have been better. We need to make sure, especially with GCSEs, we need to make sure every one of our young people is in school. Overall attainment and attitude to learning consistently improved each term. So progress, all of our students made progress throughout the year. Great effort, great effort. Year 8 obviously took the opportunity to make their options choices, and I'll be talking about options again in a minute. We also had the Oxford School's first year 8 peer prefects. Wonderful plan that we had in place. Year 8 prefects who would be responsible for the year and what we did, but also peer mentor year 7s. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that, but the aim is to do that again this year. And again, the biggest disappointment for me last year was we weren't able to go on camp, but we did have a virtual camp, which I hope everyone really enjoyed. I enjoyed it. I set fire to my garden, but my wife didn't enjoy it, but it was a great fun. So we are aiming to do some more activities this year. Please look out on the bulletin, which will be coming out in a couple of weeks' time, for activities that we will be doing throughout the year. Right, safeguarding. Obviously, safeguarding is paramount in Oxford School. The safeguarding team for the designated safeguarding lead is Mr. Milne. The deputy designated safeguarding lead is Ms. Waller, remains the same. We do have a new member of staff, who's Mrs. Rastelli, who's joined us as the deputy designated safeguarding lead, who is also the head of student emotion and social well-being. Mr. Owen remains the e-safety lead. If you have a concern about safeguarding or a question about safeguarding, you can also go to your tutors, who can actually point you in the right direction, but also you can come to the year team and we can talk to you about that as well. Okay. Just a word about behaviour. Like I said earlier, behaviour in the last couple of weeks has been great. It really has been great, I must admit. The whole year deserves credit. But we still need to remind our students on occasions that obviously behaviour is an issue and we will deal with it accordingly. However, what I have noticed is our year group has become a lot more mature. And this has helped with behaviour as well. Okay, we're committed to creating an environment of a learning environment. Okay, and with that comes exemplary behaviour. Now, we've made a massive step this year with what we are doing. We want to continue that. If you have any questions about behaviour or you're concerned about behaviour, please contact us. Okay. Right, the challenges to come. Year 9. Work will become harder. It will be focused on exams, and every lesson is valuable. And as I said, attendance is essential. Okay. Pupils will be increasingly asked to think independently, inside and outside of lessons. The idea about doing GCSEs in year 9 is that we give them the time to do all their studying, but it's for them to mature at an earlier age so they become more independent learners. Okay. We want our pupils to need to solve problems and take responsibility for their work and their behaviour. Can you please encourage your child to be resilient? Just tell you a quick word about options. We spent an inordinate amount of time dealing with options, and thank you for your support and feedback regarding options. We are still seeing some students who feel that they've made the wrong choices. What we are asking is all our students to go through at least 1 week, week 1 and week 2, and try out their options. We will only change options if there is a fundamental change in their wishes. For example, if they feel they need something different for a career. I have actually had to turn down certain students requesting changes in their options. However, there have been a few students who we've allowed to change. If your child is thinking about asking to change, please discuss with them the reasons why. They need to be educational. We will consider them, but if after talking to you, they are still want to discuss the possibility of changing, can you ask them to come and see myself in the year office during tutor time, and I will discuss individual cases with students. That's not to say we will make the changes, however, we will consider them. The other thing is a lot of classes are now full up as well, and changing options does make a change to their timetables. So their classes may change and their teachers may change. Please explain that to them and make sure they are aware of that. So options, if you have any issues regarding options, please discuss it with your child. If they're still considering the change, then they need to come and discuss it with myself. I then need to discuss it with Mrs. Griffin, who's in charge of the whole options process. And again, it depends on whether there are places in class and whether those classes are available. Right, teaching and learning. The basis of why we are here. We are still using our think strategy at Oxted School. Put simply, our expectation is that all students have to think hard in every lesson that they go to. This is much more important when you do your GCSEs. Okay. The idea as well that every student will become involved in their lessons. Okay. We will use a number of different teaching techniques. These you are probably aware of already because we went through these last year in year 8. If you have any questions regarding teaching and learning, regarding particular curriculum classes, it would be better if you contacted the curriculum teachers or the heads of department. If you don't know who they are, you can always go to your tutor or you can come to the year team. Okay. The key thing here, though, is about the teaching techniques is that we make our students much more confident. Obviously, we are trying to prepare them for the future, but it's about being confident, independent learners. Okay. We will use number and different learning activities. It's not a question about sitting there listening to a teacher and talking through the board. It's about using various different strategies to make sure that the learning is achieved. If you want more information about this, there will be more information available from the heads of the department and from the heads of the faculty. But again, once again, if you're unsure who to talk to, please come through to your tutor or the year team. With regards to mathematics, obviously in maths, English and science, students will be studying for GCSEs. There is a short presentation for mathematics and English that will be available with this presentation when it is sent out to parents and students. Mr. Marcus Connell, he's the head of maths, and Mr. Kevin Sultana, the head of English, have prepared presentations which explain what is required of students within GCSEs. Please look at those presentations. Again, if you have any questions, they can refer to the head of mathematics and to English. forget that. Obviously, literacy is an important part at Oxted School. We try to prioritise literacy, mainly because obviously as well our students are now doing their GCSEs. All year students will begin every English lesson with 10 minutes of silent reading. That carries on from last year. All students need to have a reading book with them at all times. 2 reasons. 1, because reading is an essential skill, but also because with the changeovers and because we're all in our own bubbles, students do need a reading book to use if there is a slight delay in a member of staff getting to their classroom. Having said that, I haven't noticed many delays in the last few weeks we've been here, but again, as well, in tutor time, we will be encouraging our students to read. Please encourage all students to read. Students are tested on their reading age 3 times a year and their reading progress is monitored. We also have a word of the week to encourage students to extend their vocabulary. Obviously, reading is the most essential skill. Please, please, please work with us and encourage your children to read. Right. Learning. Right. The assessment system. All assessment grades are linked to 1 to 9 to the GCSE criteria. Now, this hasn't changed because we were using this previously, but they will be linked to the assessment grades within curriculums now for GCSE as well. Flight path grades remain the same. They will indicate the flight path they are currently on in relation to the end of Key Stage 4 grade. So it's where we think they will be at the end of year 11 when they take their GCSE exam. And I remind you, 9 is the highest, 1 is the lowest. We also use the approach to learning grade, the ATL, which is graded from 1 to highest to 4 the lowest, which indicates a student's attitude towards learning. What I would say here is if students are consistently not involved in homework, and especially this year in year 10 and year 11, homework is an essential part of our teaching and learning, they will only be graded on an ATL of 3. So if you don't want a level 3, can you encourage your children to do their homework, please? We start our year 9 curriculum for GCSE because we know the pressure of GCSEs. We are now preparing our students to cope with the demands of GCSE examinations. GCSEs have changed over the last few years. We know the pressure our students will be under. We are here to try and prepare them for it. Right, the examinations will test long-term knowledge and skills. So from the moment they start in year 9 doing their GCSE curriculum, they will be preparing themselves for those exams. Right, examinations will be longer and handwritten and will be tested and basically in the main hall or the main sports hall. There will be little opportunity for using a computer. There are exceptions, obviously, for SEN children and children with other requirements, educational requirements. Literacy and numeracy. Literacy, as already mentioned, will become more important in all subjects. The other thing is as well, presentation, including handwriting, are also a particular focus. Along with the reading, if you can get your children to practice their handwriting, and to work with our teachers to practice exam questions, things like that, that will all contribute to enhancing their chances of passing their GCSEs. So what can students do? Right, we just asked they try 100% every lesson. So to do their best in every lesson, attend every lesson, be powerful learners, complete homework to a high standard through Frog. Can I just say here, the year 9 homework will be accessed through Frog. They should also be writing it in their planners, so you can check their planners, but it will still be for year 9 going through Frog. We will not be issuing work through Teams. It's all through Frog. If you have any concerns about Frog, and I know we've had some problems with logons for Frog, please contact us and we will point you in the right direction. Please take notice of all feedback given by staff. Feedback, we need to prepare our students that actually it's okay sometimes to get things wrong. but feedback from staff will help them dealing with that as well. We ask you to work with teachers and ask for help when necessary. We ask them to review work regularly. We will be using the DIRT process and identify online resources available. For example, Hegarty Maths, Vocab Express and Frog quizzes. Right. What can you do as parents? Work with your child to help them manage their time effectively. Even if you spend 15 minutes, half an hour with your children at the end of the day, just encourage them, asking what homework they've done, asking them how their day has gone. Find out if there's any issues. Let us know. Encourage them to form good habits. Find somewhere appropriate for them to work. I know I've been through this. I've been through this with my daughter. I'm going through it with my son at the moment. Not in front of the television, not in front of a screen. If you have any concerns, please contact the subject teacher directly or the tutor. Please don't wait for a set of grades, okay? There will be a weekly parent bulletin. I will also be sending out a 2-weekly parent bulletin for Year 9 specifically. Please attend meetings, okay? Our parents' evenings, we don't know how they're going to work yet, but it's essential that you attend those meetings with your children and stress the importance of working with our colleagues. If you have any concerns, contact subject teacher or tutors or the year team. Right, so what does the school do? We will reward, I'll say it in English, reward positive behaviour. We will put homework and resources on Frog, our virtual learning environment. We will publish a parent bulletin. We will support students outside lessons with their work. We will monitor student progress. If there is an issue, we will contact you straight away. We will also provide clear lines of communication, okay? Email, phone calls. What I ask here, and this is the thing, and many of you have worked with me and my team, Mr. Hayter, Mrs. Ptakas, and our tutors, you know that actually direct communication is the best way to work with us, okay? We will get back to you as soon as possible and do everything that we can to help you. But we need to know when things are not going quite right. Right, the Frog parent portal is still the same, okay? You should have access through it still. I must admit, we are still having some problems with Frog. There are some issues with logons. Please let us know straight away if your child is having problems accessing Frog, or you are as well. You should be able to monitor your child's attendance, progress, behaviour, options, and there will be useful links and useful information. For example, coming up through Year 9, 10, 11, obviously we will be concentrating on careers. There will be links to careers and things like that in the future. Right, attendance. Must admit, I was pleasantly surprised with attendance in this last few weeks. Bearing in mind that overall in the country, it is 88%, okay? Our attendance has been quite high. However, it could be better. Our goal is 100% attendance for all students. Please let us know if your child is off for any reason, okay? We do require medical evidence. It's not our asking, it's a government requirement, but it helps us reintegrate any children who are off for any illness, okay? There is other, obviously, information available regarding your child's attendance. And if we don't hear from you, we will contact you to ask why your child is off. Just to let you know, though, obviously, if they are ill, and obviously in this time, we need to be very careful about how we treat our children as well, okay? Please be aware that please take the right medical advice. Please contact your GP. But remember, days off school means days lost to learning. And unfortunately, with GCSEs and with our need to pick up with all the work that we may have lost in the meantime, we do need our students in as much as possible. Okay, so looking ahead. On successful independent students who are collaborative in their approach to learning. When we mean collaborative, they're working with you. They're certainly working with us. They're able to meet deadlines. Another thing that they will notice when they do their GCSEs, key deadlines. Understand how they learn best. Are resilient when it comes to attendance. I cannot stress the importance of attendance, especially after working with this year group. There is so much potential within this year group, especially on progress. We don't want to let our students down because of attendance. Develop their interest by taking advantage of enrichment opportunities. Obviously, they are limited at the moment, but as soon as we are able to provide enrichment situations, we will do so. Okay, and finally, okay, attendance, we've already marked. Homework, enrichment, and no reflections. Reflections for us Oldens means detentions, but what we would rather do is they actually reflect on the behaviour that actually got them into that situation at that time. Right, that is the end of the presentation. I will be available, as will Miss Nichols. Could I ask if you have any questions that you write them in the chat, on the chat facility? Yeah, okay, if I come off the PowerPoint, come on, okay, yes, on the chat facility on the right hand side, and we will try and answer as many of your questions as possible. Obviously, it's not the same as seeing you face to face. However, if you don't you haven't got time to ask us questions now, please remember we're available on email. We are also available by phone call during the week as well. Okay, thank you very much for your attendance. We do look forward to working with you. The other thing is as well, please praise your children. We've had a very, very good start to the year. Long may it continue. Okay. Right, a couple of questions. Where on the website can I find the slide for this? Right, there will be an email sent out with a link to the PowerPoint, which also includes the presentations by the head of maths and the head of English. That will be going out before Friday. I hope that answers the question. Right. If you're self-isolating, does it still count as attendance when doing schoolwork from home? Right. If you are self-isolating, we do need medical evidence. However, if you are self-isolating, we are under an obligation as well to provide work for the students. Miss Nichols will obviously clarify that.
I'll come in on that. So just to clarify, if you are self-isolating or quarantining following a trip, there are still some people in that situation. Your child's attendance will not be affected. So we will what's called excode them, which means they're not required to be in school. In fact, we want them not to be in school just for the safety of everybody. We will provide work for them to do. The class teachers will provide work for them to do. And that is, and we'll expect them to engage with that work and submit it as requested by their teachers, assuming they're well. Obviously, if they're unwell, that's a different situation. But no, their attendance won't be affected by self-isolating.
Right, I do apologise for people who've had technical problems regarding waiting in the lobby. This has been recorded. It will be available. I'm afraid you can listen to me again over and over again, and the link will be sent out this week. Okay, so it will be available. We will send it out by Friday. I do apologise for the technical issues. Are there any more questions at the moment? If you do, you can stay behind, and we will still be available for the next 15 minutes. I'd just like to say thank you for your attendance. I really appreciate it. We do look forward to working with you again. And what I would like to say, and end on a good positive, or you can only have a good positive, can't you? Yeah. I'm waffling now. Mr. Hayes is telling me I'm waffling now. But what I would like to say is the kids have been brilliant. So thank you, and look forward to working with you.
There is a homework. Sorry, one of the questions is there a homework timetable available? There is a homework timetable available online. What we'll do is we'll send out a link along with this. We'll send out a link to that so that you're aware of where that is. And homework should have started now. There obviously some teachers have been gentle with you coming back, but you should expect to start receiving homework.
Obviously, I will be sending out a bulletin every 2 weeks. I will be sending out a bulletin next week. Obviously, I can then answer any questions as well if anybody wants to send an email in regarding questions. But with GCSE, the expectation is there will be homework from every subject on a regular basis. But if you have any questions about homework, the first port of call should be the teacher of that particular subject or the head of department. But if you don't know who to speak to, please come through to us and we'll point you in the right direction. Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions? I can't see. Right, a couple of questions. When on the assessment schedule for this year? I'll be perfectly honest, I was going to put the dates in for the assessment calendar, but I do need to clarify them because of what's happened with COVID. So there will be assessments, there will be end of year 9 exams as well, and there will be assessments at various times through the year. As soon as I have the dates, I will communicate them to you through the bulletin or through email.
At the moment, we're hoping to be able to do some year 9 exams, kind of GCSE mock type exams in March, but we are monitoring closely, as Mr. Edwards has said, what the situation is to make sure that we can do those as effectively as possible.
D of E. I do know that the plan for D of E is going ahead, but again, once again, it is subject to change because of the present situation we find ourselves in. So again, as soon as we have dates, and I know Mr. Hayes is sitting with me and he's part of D of E as well, the dates haven't been finalised because obviously with D of E, camping involved, unfortunately we can't do camping at the moment. So as soon as we have any information, they will be communicated to you. With regard, sorry, Ms. Nichols.
No, I was going to say the one about the school bulletin. There is a regular communication from the school, but I do appreciate that the start of this year has probably brought more emails than any year ever before because of the amount of information we've had to share with you. So I apologise for that. If you're finding that to be quite unmanageable, everything that we send home is consolidated on the website under the year 9 section. You can find the letters home and the key information is on there. And once you get the year 9 bulletin, that will also pinpoint the key things and will reduce the number of emails we want to send home. We do appreciate it's been a lot and we thank you for bearing with us. It's because we want to make sure you do have all the information.
And also obviously email is obviously quicker than any other way. But again, a bulletin will be coming out to you next week. As soon as we have any information, as soon as we have any updates, we obviously pass it on to you. Thank you. Any more questions? I will remain on for the next 15 minutes if you do have any questions. Thank you for your attendance. Look forward to working with you.